So this is an application of matrices, applications of matrices. The following is a table showing the number of pounds of pecans and walnuts purchased by a cookie bakery from suppliers A and B for the first week in March. So let's just take a look at this table. So we have suppliers A and B, and we have that pecans, 50 pounds of pecans were purchased from supplier A and 60 from supplier B, and then of course walnuts 70 pounds and 100 pounds from the supplier B. So we're asked to write the data, these data, in a 2 by 2 matrix. This should be these data. Oops, what in the world happened to that? Okay, I don't know what happened just then. Let me go back. Okay, that should be these. Anyway, okay, well, this should be, go ahead and put this in here. Come on, pen. There we go. This should be these. Okay, write these data in a 2 by 2 matrix, S1. So let's go ahead and do that. So we have S1 is going to look like this: 50, 60, 70, and 100. Okay, so there's that. Use scalar multiplication to find a matrix called S2 whose entries are all 20% larger than the corresponding entries of S1. So I want to take S1 and basically multiply by a scalar of what? Well, how do I increase something in one step, increase something by 20%? So you need to think back to your percent days, and we know that to add 20% to something in one step would be to multiply by 1.2. So the 1 basically gives us the original, the 0.2 adds the 20%, so we get the increase of 20% just by multiplying by 1.2. So let's take a look at what we get. Multiply each of those by 1.2, and we get this. 50 becomes 60, 60 becomes 72, 70 becomes 84, and of course 100 becomes 120. Okay, so this is what we call, whoops, this is S2. I'll put it right there. Now we're going to be asked to do something with both of those matrices. Suppose that S2 is the supply matrix for the second week in March. Okay, so the supply matrix for the first week was this right here. The second week is this right here. Find S1 and plus S2 and explain what the entries represent. So we're asked to find S1 plus the S2 and just basically explain, what are we dealing with? What are these numbers? What are the entries meaning when we add them up? Let's just first add them up. We get 110, 132, 154, what is that, 220? So what, like for instance, what does this 110 represent? Well, let's just look. Let's look at what our rows and columns represented in the beginning. We just have to remember that. That's why it's important that we, have the labels here. So this would be the number of pounds of pecans, right, that were purchased from supplier A for the first 2 weeks in March, right? The total number of pounds of pecans. And of course this would be the total number of pounds of pecans purchased from vendor B for the first 2 weeks in March. So it's really not difficult. We just have to put into words, discipline ourselves to put these things into words and explain what we're talking about. And then of course 154, what is that? That is the total number of pounds of walnuts for the first 2 weeks in March that came from vendor A or supplier A, and again from supplier B. Total number of pounds of walnuts that were purchased from vendor B for the first 2 weeks in March. So there it is, and I hope it was helpful. Don't be afraid of interpreting. If it's a real life problem, it really does have a real life meaning. Thanks a lot for watching.